deep, guys. You can now see it's just 1.20 meters deep onto this area, because we want to have them in a nature that they are just going to be reared here, because that's now a harvesting pot from this place. So from here it's just somehow lower, and you can just walk, because we have some hardcore here. You can never sink nor do anything around this area. So I can just...
Here we have a flying beam that's just to be constructed here, as you can see, whereby we'll just get the pavement of water just passing to the fish pond here. As you can see, the construction is just ongoing. The area is just sloppy, by the way, and towards that edge, the construction will be ending like 1 week or a fish pond here. It will just move from the far end onto this section, whereby we will have just a flying beam from this section, which is this pillar to that pillar, and it will just be constructed using 2 blocks upwards, so as it will retain this water at this section that is it's just here. So after this one, we will have this section. After this one, it will be the second fish pond, whereby if water is just full at this fish pond here, it will now direct itself, whereby we just put an the outlet from this fish pond to the inlet of the other fish pond. So as you can see here, we have a flying beam, whereby we have a source of water at that far end, and another source of water at that far end. So the source of water here, whereby the water table at this section, it's just lower than our fish pond. So we just retain that water at that far end, whereby we just construct a wall to retain that water. So if it's just full at that section it is, now it will be just directed to this point. If we have a shortage of water, we have a well that's just being constructed, a borehole, where it will just contain, it has some water, it's just being constructed, so as it will just direct water at this point. So as you can see, the aim of we using these bags here, it's just to reinforce the walls of that far end. The point, we have not just constructed a perimeter wall at that point. We want to reduce the cooling of water, whereby if you use the concrete ones here, so the water will be just of high centigrades, whereby we will have these walls brings the cooling of the water, and it will be just so cold. So that's what we want to minimize. That's why we are just using those bags, and we just heap with the soil from the outer side, so as we will just give that land breeze and the sea breeze, as you know. So as we can now get the water that's just clear, and it will now fit for the production of the fish. So people, it's cool. So people, you can see how water is just protruding from the other part of the source of water towards the fish pond. That's what we are just talking about. Look at this. It's just awesome amount. Here we have the soil here is just clay soil, and it's just very deep. It's muddy, and you can see how we want to levelize this place to be. And I can just show you from the far end of the fish pond. This is how it looks like from the far end where I was just standing towards this end. So we want to level the land and water to flow at a pace that is just at a neutral pace, whereby we have to levelize the fish pond from the far end to this point here, so as we can now attract water that will move from this source of water. As you can see, this is the source of water. Wow, very clean water. The source of water is just called a spring here. So we are just attracting water from this spring towards our fish pond here. It's just categorized into 3. We have 3 segments of this fish pond. We have one which reaches at this place here, which is the pillar, and this is the pillar here. So this is to construct a beam. This one here, to construct a beam that will now restrict water. That this will just make a segment, whereby we will just separate this fish pond and this one here. Further, this end point here, whereby we will now give this fish pond a what is called a shape. So as Hello guys, how are you? It's underscore Gintu here again. Look at where I am standing. It's just beside the Villament Gin, guys. Here I am just going to show you this fish pond here, how we are just going to change water from this fish pond to fish pond number 2 as they required. You know guys, as far as everything should be put in consideration, this water, you know, it's somehow stagnant into that fish pond, so we have to regularly remove the stagnant water and let the fresh water into the pond. So I'm going to enter into this fish pond, so as I will now show you on how we have the drainage pipe, so as we allow that water out, so as we can now, by tomorrow we shall now have accommodated the new fresh water into that fish pond, because we have the reason behind why we do that. Because sometimes you can just, I told you about the observations. You should be observative in terms of this field of the fish rearing project. So guys, and to my observation, I'm just looking upon how this fish pond is. I'm just going to let water out, so as I can now get the natural or fresh water into the pond. So guys, I'll give you the hint behind the reason why we are just doing that. Let us first remove water, so as I can just show you why we did this project and how we can now drain water out. Guys, here we have an outlet pipe. It's that this is the outlet pipe here, and we have the drainage pipe here, which is so large, 4 inches, and we have another one at the downer level that's just 3 inches. So I'm going just to open this, so as now I can let water out. It has a force, guys. Woo! Will I jump? Guys, look at this. Now, this is the technique we used here, so as when we want to change water into that fish pond, this drainage pipe here has a sieve from inside, so it will not let any fish pass through this point. So look at this awesome huge amount of water coming out, guys. So this fish pond is just going to be full by some 20 minutes, just going to be full here. So it's just called the regulation of water into this fish pond, so as we can now accommodate good water into that pond, because we have just installed some fish. The reason, guys, welcome onto my YouTube channel. It's underscore Gintu here. Here, as you can see, I am just under this the maintenance practices undergoing at I am Marwa side. This is the fish pond we are just being showing you onto the YouTube channels that it's one of the incredible scenes ever been constructed by the name the Flying Beam Fish Pond here. So guys, guys, now this is our spring here. As you can see how water is so clean by now. You can see how water is somehow clean by now. You can just see up to the ground of this water. So as far as water is now going to just rechannel itself upwards onto this our spring here, it's just going to enter via this fish pond here. As the day are just coming, you can now see water is somehow clear, but at the you know, I am Marwa even just talked about the tiling of this fish pond as one of the moments that we now bring that deco onto this area. So it's the same protocol, it's just going to be done onto this flying beam, but the point is we shall not have
that ground to be tiled, but we need that now. The fish pond site, you can now see how clean water it is, and to this fish pond, which is just number one. I've been talking about introducing you to see how the construction or how the tiling is just going to take place and to this fish pond here. So I am just going to have a challenge here of two people who are just going to swim as an Olympic swimming pool here from this 1-0 level here to the far 42 meters to the far end of this fish pond here. So we are going to have a competition of two people just having a swim from this end to the far end. So guys, keep it locked. Let you see how people are just rolling onto this fish pond and how they are just going to swim. Ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Sha! Woo! 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 20. We have a big fish here. Woo! We have a big fish. But Hanambio, you don't have pace.
Huh?
Eh? You don't go so fast to the far end. Go. We have very large, awesome amount of water onto this fish pond. Aya, ruka tena. See how water is somehow clean, guys, at this spot here. So this is the, it's like a showering area. How deep is that area? Sinimrefu?
Yeah, it's stop.
It's so in terms of height, guys, in this area from this column here to that column there, it's so deep in terms of the height. So you can now see where it reaches, and it's not yet full onto that. This is just a drainage pot at this area, which is just an outlet, but we have an inlet from that end there, so as we can now access this fish pond onto here. You can now see how water is now draining onto this pot. This is water draining in onto this pot here. Look at how water is clear, and you can see up to the downer level of this small fish pond here. So guys, we have now just finished the leveling of the hardcore onto this fish pond inside here, and now it's now cleaning the pond so as it should be so clean, so as now I can just allow water to accumulate onto this fish pond, so as tomorrow we shall now come up all early in the morning, we shall have very clean water onto this fish pond for now restocking again the fish we had. So guys, keep it locked. This is just the way of just cleaning this fish pond here. It's just so easy because it has tiles here, so it's just using a wet strings like this one here, or can just talk about a piece of a cloth. So as you can now, it's just passing this way, so as it can now remove this dirtiness onto the fish pond, which is just the tiling. So as by tomorrow we shall not have to tamper with this water anymore, because we want it to be as clean as possible, so as we will now restock the fish again. So guys, keep it locked. I'll just going to give you more updates from tomorrow on how we are just going to restock and how water it will be. So from the comments you can now guess which kind of which level of water we're just going to have here, or are we going to have as clean as possible water onto this fish pond here. So from your comments, guys, I'm just ready to read, and I'm just going to give the feedback as soon as possible. So guys, thank you very much whoever is just watching the video from. Just subscribe if you have not subscribed, and like the video so much, guys. Thank you very much. See you next video. The fish pond is making shape. Oh yeah. What can you talk about? I'm just one of the co-workers, and by today is just a manpower we have. Look at this guy here again.
Yeah, this is the real one. Yeah. You understand? They are talking about this one.
Yeah.
They have come with this one. This is the real one. And shaky. This one put it here for the fish pond. Yeah, tomorrow we will want to do that job. I think you are the master of it.
Okay, I'll give my audience the platform of tomorrow, whatever we are just heading to. But today we are just using this kind of stones here. They're just blue stones into the first coat of the insertion of stones onto the fish pond. And we have another stone. Maybe somebody can just pass with it. Maybe around here. So as these are just the bluish ones, and we have the dark blue. So these are just the first coat inserted on the pond, the first ones there. Then we levelize using the dark blue in nature color. These hardcores here are just from the mining sites, which are just produced from the mining sites where the gold is just mined. So
you have someone that somebody pass with it. Yeah, remember I am Maro Soja. You can check my channel there.
I am Maro Soja. He's one of the workers here by now, and we are just doing this job because we are a team. So it's not a master payment or anything. We're just helping. They're just helping me because this is my project here to perform it. So as we go prosper, they're just making their own content here, and that's why we move together as one. So this is just the dark blue in color, which is just inserted there as the second coat. So as we can just level, as we can just come and view here for what we are just doing here. Look at how now water is onto this fish pond here. People can now comment and say which kind of water. Are we just going to have a safe climate here, or water level contented onto this fish pond here? Let me go in. So as look at how you can just step onto this. So it will never go dirty henceforth because we have water onto this pot here. We want to maintain the level, and we make this level in a way that it cannot even sink, or water should not have any pollutive color onto the reflection. So that's hello guys, how are you? It's _Gintu back again. Welcome. We're just new to see this channel here. You can just subscribe, you can just like and comment, so as you can just groove together, guys. Welcome back. Here I am. I'm just having some feeds. They're just 3mm feeds, which are just fed the fish, so as they can now have that boost of just continuing with their lifespan here. So these are just the feeds that are just floaters we are just using here, so as they can just boost the fish to grow. And they're just applied onto here, whereby we have one dining table where we just use these feeds, so as they can just adjust to that climate and to adjust into that environment, and also to adjust that they should be fed at one position, so as it can now be relative unto them, so as they can just come to that corner or a dining table, we can just call it, so as they can just feed along, so as they can now be visible. People can just cheer them up, and they can just show them up and just view everything that's just taking place, and how they're just fed, and how they're just bubbling and rushing around waiting for the feed. So we are just going to spot at one point whereby the fish are just going to feed mostly, so we can just scatter the feeds randomly onto the pond, so whenever they are going to feed, they are going to just accumulate and crowd, so that they can just feed so well. That's the position we are just going to take it as the dining table of this kind of tilapia fish and ornamental fish combined together. So this is just a mega project henceforth here, whereby it's just called the flying beam fish pond constructed at this site. So if you're just new to the channel, bubbling, we are just coming together. So you just throw here some section of the feeds this way. They're just going to float on top of water. You can now see water is so clear into this section. So we are just going to feed them at different angles. You can just feed them there. This place. So by now they have now started eating, and you can now see water is somehow bubbling, so they are just going to be scattered there.
Let me show you guys.
Ukienda karibu zitatoka. Are they there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they are going to feed. So this is the criteria we are just using so as they can now get the food for them to eat. So they are just fed twice, whereby this is just a scoop. We can just call it a scoop. It's just locally made, whereby it can now scoop some of the feeds, and whenever it's now full, it's just 1 kg, and so you can just use a 3/4 kg per morning and even the evening time. So they're just fed twice, whereby the around 10 a.m. and around 4 p.m. During the evening session. So by now it's just evening. They're now fed twice a day. So this is now the second time of feeding. So guys, yesterday we went and we purchased some of the gadgets and the equipment favorable for the fish farming and to this area, and everything is just making sense here and taking shape, whereby we purchased even the predator bar, the predator net, and also a scoop net, and also this kind of a wader yesterday. So I am just going to enter, or whenever we have any miscellaneous effect, I can just chip onto the fish pond and just walk alongside the fish pond whenever it's just waterproof and everything goes well. So I can just get in, so as I can just walk at the pathway, so as I can now see whatever we have inside here. So guys, this is how everything is now taking shape, and everything is making progress well. So I'm just going to get every assessment of this water, how it is, the level of pH we do measure, and also everything that contain and goes hand in hand with the fish farming. I'm just reliable to give you one-on-one feedbacks on whatever is just taking place at this section. So I'm just going to show you what we talk about the predator nets, how they look like, and how we are just going to install it here, so as we can just regulate the predators from viewing direct, because we have the ornamental fish that are just reared here. They have a color coding, and they can just have a color crash, so as they can just be spotted with the predator birds very quickly, because in a small synopsis about whatever we have, like the predators, we can just talk about we have the herons, we have the eagles, we have the marabou storks, we have the kingfishers. So those are the kinds of the predator birds we're talking about, and also we have predators as people. So those are just the people can just come and steal, because we have a fishing rod. People can just take a fishing rod. You can never know the intention of people who are just around, or who are just accessing this area. So because we have tilapia fish here, they are so big, which are just around 200 grams, some, and others are just around 100 grams. So you can just find somebody have that attitude of just coming and getting the fish from this fish pond, so as you can just consume or do anything with it, because they are now fully grown up. And the most thing we are just going to encourage people to do is just abstain from the fish pond, so as we can just rear our own fish here, so as we can, after a while, we are going to sell them and make the marketing of the red fish or the ornamental fish around this fish pond. And a small synopsis about whatever we have inside here. We have the tilapia fish and we have the ornamental fish, which are just the colored fish in quotes. These colored fish are just divided into 5 classes, whereby we have the koi carp here, we have the gulpies, we have the shobokin, we have the golden, which is just silver golden and red golden, we have the red carmint. The one we don't have here is just called the swordtail, because it's somehow black, and dwarf. It's so aggressive, and we never came with it here, because it's going to fight the others and it might have the harm to others. So those are just the kind of the ornamental fish we are just stocked here. And the tilapia fish, it's just 2 species, which is just the bright black tilapia and the bright red tilapia we have stocked here. So they have that ecosystem of just staying together, because both are from the tilapia class, but different species. And as far as everything is put in consideration, we are going to keep them here both, because this fish pond here is the first impression whenever you want to enter onto the Medellin onto this area, because this fish pond is alongside the main door of accessing the villa, and people are just going to come alongside here. They're just going, first thing is just to view whatever we have here at this fish pond, and they can just make the recognition. And yesterday after we went to Kisumu, we just allocated things that we are just going to do here. At the upper section where we have water there, that's just a fish pond. It's not yet fully constructed because people have not yet embarked to the work of construction. Mayamaro is still and just relax, so as he can just relax a bit. So whenever people are just going to consume or come back for the work, resume for the work, they are just going to start with these small fish pond around here. So as we are just going to stock what's called the turtles there, and from those turtles there we are just going to stock. People are just going to get in, and also you can just swim with the turtles because it's somehow deeper, like the one I'm just stepping inside here. But this side I'm just stepping is not yet so. This one here is so deep because whenever I can just get onto this section, you can now see where water reaches me at this fish pond here. So at down at sea level we have what's called the hardcore just arranged downwards, and they cannot just allow people to sink whenever anything, because the hardcore just hardly compacted onto this fish pond. So the more I can just go back, you can now see the level of water onto this area. It's so deep, guys. You can now see it's just 1.20 meters deep onto this area, because we wanted to have them in a nature that they are just going to be reared here fully. And people are just talking about, do we have outlet and inlet? Water is coming from this other source, which is just the spring source, and it's just coming daily. And we have an outlet onto this area here, and this is just an outlet part whereby what is now moving from this first fish pond accessing the second fish pond as an inlet. So we don't have any challenge about the inlet and the outlet. People are just talking about we stock here some sand at the downer level of the fish pond. We have just compacted some hardcore down, which are just very clean, and they cannot tamper with the dirtification of water anymore. So this is how the this kind of the fish pond looks like, and this is the nature of the fish pond. So what is so clean here, and we have a lot of water compacted onto this area. And so let's go and I show you the predator nets we have, so as we can just chill and chat together. We say whatever we have, is it possible for the rearing of fish? So I'm just going to step, this is just called from that far end to this where the beam is. Let me show you up to where my legs are. Up to this place here, it's very deep because it's just called harvest pot. So whenever you just drain this water out, water will just remain out to this pot, and they cannot just suffocate onto this area. So everything is just taking place and shape onto this area, and everything is in a systematic way. So from this point here now, it's somehow upper, because that's now a harvesting pot from this place. So from here it's just somehow lower, and you can just walk, because we have some hardcore here. You can never sink nor do anything around this area. So I can just walk onto this water, and that's why now we purchased these kind of the wear, so as I cannot just get into water contact. My body cannot get into water contact, and it's just waterproof. So whenever I can just walk, it has gumboots at the downer level, so you can just step. Even because we have some hardcore here, it's not going to interfere with you with the legs nor anything else. So this is just the good moment. People might think that maybe we are just going to tamper with the fish inside here as I'm just walking. Fish are so secure, and they know the alertness of them, so they cannot be interfered whenever you walk inside here. And as far as everything is concerned, we have waves here, because this fish pond here, you can now see, if the camera can just zoom, we have some hardcores arranged at this part and the downer level, because this is the flying beam we are just talking about, because most of the water we receive from the outer part of the pond, so as it can now access the pond, so as it can now accumulate and have a huge awesome amount of water at this spot. So guys, after everything is just analyzed, we will now have the electrical appliances. We have some wires here, so the only thing we shall now be doing is just installing lights here, which are just more colorful, so at night people are just going to view everything like fish. At night they're just going to come out, because light is good for the fish. They like light mostly, so they're just going to come out and they think it's just a sunny day. So everything is taking good shape onto this Medellin. So onto this bag here we have some nets. Let me see if I can just get one. Let it be down here. So here we have some nets. There are two. So these are the kind of nets. Let me carry it up. This is just the kind of net we are just going to use. Look at how it is. This is the kind of the net. This is just the predator net, so it's going to be covered on top of this fish pond, so as we don't have any miscellaneous effect with any kind of we talk about predators, we talk about people as predators, and we talk about the birds as predators. So whenever we seal it onto this top level, I'm just going to show you the day we plan on just stocking it, or just getting it on top of this water surface, so as it can just reduce some miscellaneous effects that might just occur into this area. So they have like look at how my hand looks like. So it's just they have those spaces, so as people can now view towards the pond, and people can just throw some feeds here. They're just going to trespass alongside these small holes alongside the net, so as people can now see or enjoy throwing some feeds here, which are now necessary and well maintained and produced for the fish farming. So whenever we use this net now, we shall just minimize harm to the fish farming around this area. So guys, everything is just going to come to you direct forward from here, from me. And just if you're just new from this, you are just looking at the channel, it's _Gintu. You can just chip and just subscribe to my channel, and we groove together as a team. As whenever you're just watching, just like the video, comment, and also remember to share if you can just. So guys, thank you very much, and kudos for you listening to me and watching the full video up to where we have just reached. Thank you very much. Kudos to you.